This page is the front cover of Volume 4 of 64 magazine, boasting Nintendo 100% action. The main feature game is Banjo-Kazooie, billed as bear-shaped for Nintendo, with the iconic bear and bird duo prominently displayed. The cover also highlights the ultimate racer's guide to Mario Kart, and promises, plus all the latest cheats. Super Mario 64 Last Levels is 64 tactics. Game reviews featured in this issue include Blastcore, UK, and Go! Troublemakers, with screenshots from each game included. Other games name-dropped are GoldenEye, 007, F-Zero 64, Tetrisphere, Conker's Quest, and Chameleon Twist. There's a competition to win a Chrome N64, mentions of an E3 show report, and an intriguing question, what the hell is Lilat Wars, in the bottom corner. You can also see the N64 console and 4 controllers in grey, green, yellow and red. This page is an advert for Blaze brand accessories for the Nintendo 64, plugging their range of add-ons. They've got memory cards, universal game adapters for playing Japanese and American games, controller extension cables, SCART's video cables for better picture quality, and even stereo of cables. The backdrop image is from Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, with Turok himself battling a raptor, showing off the hunting season theme. This page is the contents page for Volume 4 of 64 magazine, with the bold headline E3s are good, referencing the recent E3 Games show in Atlanta. There's a write-up about their man in Atlanta, bringing back all the latest N64 news, covering games like GoldenEye, 064 and Banjo-Kazooie, though apparently he forgot the classic Coke. It looks like there's a feature titled, No Star Fox for Europe, which sounds a bit concerning. They're also giving away a Chrome N64 console, which is pretty flashy. In terms of game coverage, it seems we've got a section of reviews covering Go! Troublemakers, which is described as a surprising 2D platformer, Dark Rift, Hexen, and Blastcore. For previews, they're looking at Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye 007, F-Zero 64, Conker's Quest, Major League Baseball, Tetrisphere, Dual Heroes and Chameleon Twist. There's a Werewars feature, comparing the N64 to the PlayStation and Saturn, a Speak Your Brains reader survey where you can win games, a cheat code section called Cheat Central, and an ISS 64 feature about football games. Mario Kart 64 gets a mention with Kart for Kart's sake, and it seems their Super Mario 64 walkthrough is wrapping up in this issue. Finally, there's an index to find past reviews, and a section for playing tips and guides. Visually, Banjo-Kazooie is front and center, and there's a glimpse of a Chrome N64, plus screenshots from Mario Kart 64 and GoldenEye. All in all, looks like a packed issue. 64 Magazine's Showcase section explores N64 topics. It begins by questioning the console's audience. The magazine covers the Nintendo 64DD, highlighting its magnetic optical discs, 64 MB capacity, and real-time game effects. For Fox's sake, discusses the name change of Star Fox 64 to Lilat Wars in Europe, criticizing the decision. Mission, delayable, announces the delay of Ocean's mission. Impossible, citing the game's development and avoiding competition with GoldenEye. 64 Friends offers character bios in a friend style. Holy Bit previews Quest 64, an RPG from THQ. Finally, Separated at Birth compares Conker from Conker's Quest to Banjo-Kazooie's Nutty. The issue combines tech updates, game release news, and light-hearted features. Showcase highlights the NTSC versus PAL debate, discussing picture and sound differences, and the need for converters. New Shindo editions of Super Mario 64 and Wave Race 64, with enhanced features, are also previewed. A competition offers a limited edition Chrome N64 with colorful controllers. Datel's new memory cartridges are praised for saving capabilities. A console carry bag is mentioned. The article covers playing import games, detailing the lockout system and potential picture problems. Finally, the 64 charts are revealed. Mario Kart 64 remains at number 1, with other top titles including ISS 64, Super Mario 64, and Killer Instinct Gold, demonstrating the N64's continued popularity. This article covers N64 features and news. It discusses game saves, detailing the game pack's battery save, and the controller pack for expanded memory. It warns against save corruption and offers a tip for managing saves. Release dates for UK, Japan, and USA are broken down by timeframe. Now/August, September/October, November/Christmas, with highlighted titles like Blastcore, Star Fox 64, GoldenEye, Yoshi's Island 64, Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, and Wave Race 64. The article also notes falling cartridge chip prices, suggesting potential game price drops. Finally, it features a large advertisement for Mario Kart 64, highlighting its competitive racing action. This page highlights various Nintendo news and offerings. The Aquino modular space system provides N64 game storage. The M2 console, a competitor to Nintendo, is reportedly cancelled. Nintendo won a legal battle regarding an NS patent. A humorous bottom 5 Nintendo characters list is included, and positive recognition is given to Konami and Rare for their game releases. The Nintendo section addresses cartridge delays. A large advertisement for Special Reserve, a mail-order games club, dominates the page, featuring low prices, game bundles, and financing options for N64 consoles and accessories. They are promoting numerous N64, Super NES, and Game Boy games. Upcoming N64 releases include Cruisin' USA, Body Harvest, GoldenEye 007, Star Fox 64, and Yoshi's Island, with finance deals available on bundles. Readers of When I'm 64 magazine share their N64 experiences and queries. One appreciates the magazine's critical reviews, especially for Turok. Others discuss GoldenEye's behind-the-scenes content and their interest in Clay Fighter 64. A reader inquires about Bowser's actions and upcoming games. Another is thrilled with their new N64. Discussions include complaints about high UK game prices, the benefits of the price cut, and concerns about the N64's potential fate. Comparisons are made between the N64 and PlayStation, with the magazine emphasizing N64's graphical capabilities. Additional reader concerns center on PAL versus NTSC versions of Pilotwings, and questions about game recommendations, converters, and rumors surrounding Sony's 128-bit machine. The magazine advises waiting for reviews and dismisses rumors about a 128-bit machine. E3 in Atlanta showcased Nintendo's dominance, emphasizing gameplay over static displays. While the N64 was a focus, cartridge prices and a lack of new games were notable concerns. The 64DD delay was disappointing, though Nintendo promised Christmas releases like Star Fox and Hexen. Banjo-Kazooie, a Mario 64-inspired game with a bear and bird duo, stole the show with its charming characters, detailed graphics, and diverse moves. Conker's Quest, featuring a squirrel and chipmunk, was less impressive, seen as derivative and aimed at a younger audience. Rare's focus seemed to be best placed on Banjo-Kazooie. The E3 report highlights third-party developers. GoldenEye impressed with its realistic visuals and multiplayer deathmatches. Major League Baseball showcased fluid animation and player likenesses. Hudson Soft's Bomberman 64 looked promising. Ocean Software's Mission Impossible was unavailable, but Multi-Racing Championship, with customization, was playable, with a September release expected. They also teased Space Circus. Titus Lamborghini 64 looked good but might have control issues. They also had Superman 64 and Virtual Chess. Kemco's Top Gear Rally offered realistic racing, while Twisted Edge was still in development. Nintendo hosted a Star Fox competition. Zelda 64, F-Zero 64, and Yoshi's Island were only shown as videos. Lastly, Tetrisphere updated the classic puzzle game with 3D elements. E3 showcased a variety of N64 titles. Midway highlighted San Francisco Rush with impressive arcade quality. Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Sub-Zero, a platformer, received mixed early impressions. Konami, riding high on ISS 64's success, presented NBA in the Zone 98, the Nagano Winter Olympics game, and Hybrid Heaven, a promising 3D fighting game. Acclaim's Extreme G, a fast-paced racing game, garnered attention. THQ showcased Quest 64, an RPG, and WCW Nitro, World Tour, a wrestling game. GT Interactive's Duke Nukem and Quake looked impressive on the N64. Gamatech presented Robotech, Crystal Dreams, a space shooter. The E3 coverage notes that the show wasn't epic for Nintendo this year, and the Nintendo stand had few new games. They acknowledge the need for quality software and are working to address the high cartridge prices, hoping for surprises from Capcom and Namco. This page in the magazine feature also showing gives us a look at more N64 games in development after the E3 show. First up is Yoshi's Island 64. Apparently nearing completion for a late summer release, they are saying the programmers are in the final stretch, and the landscapes are looking suitably bizarre, like a fuzzy felt creation. Next is Forsaken from Acclaim. It's early days, but it's described as a Zerog chase through twisting tunnels. Konami's Nagano Winter Olympics is mentioned as their latest sports title, aiming to follow in the footsteps of ISS-64, with multiplayer Olympic action. Extreme G is another one from Acclaim, this time a racing game from Probe Software. They are promising a behind-the-scenes look next month. Lastly for this page is NFL Quarterback Club 98, Acclaim's American football title, with promising visuals. Oh, and tucked in there is Zelda 64. They say it's slowly but surely nearing completion, with screenshots showing Link in combat and roaming around. They mention the chickens in the game as a good sign, and highlight a pirate ship level with a fuzzy felt background, comparing it to Yoshi's Island, saying it's looking as good as its Super NES predecessor. In Werewars, 64 magazine reviews the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn, promising unbiased comparisons. The consoles are judged across 9 categories, with the initial focus on beat-em-ups, shoot-em-ups, and adventure games. Saturn shines in beat-em-ups with Fighters Megamix, but PlayStation takes the lead in shoot-em-ups, showcasing titles like MechWarrior 2 and Die Hard Trilogy. The N64, with Star Fox 64, lags behind. In adventure games, including RPGs, PlayStation's Suikoden and Final Fantasy V2 are highlighted, but Mario 64 earns the N64 a win. Overall, PlayStation secures the gold, Saturn the silver, and the N64 bronze in this particular showdown. Werewars magazine reviews the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, and Saturn, focusing on graphics, sound, and potential. The N64 is praised for racers like Sega Rally and Mario Kart 64, and sports games like ISS-64. While the N64 boasts impressive graphics, texture limitations are noted. The PlayStation and Saturn have their own graphical shortcomings. The N64 controller is considered innovative, edging out the others. Sound quality slightly favors the CD-based PlayStation and Saturn. The N64's cartridge format limits game size, but offers fast loading times. Despite PlayStation's market dominance and development ease, the N64 is given the overall victory, highlighting gameplay's importance, even though it's held back by the cartridge format. This page is a reader's survey for 64 magazine, asking for your opinions, to make the mag better. It's got Mario plastered all over it naturally, and they're giving away 5 games as a prize if you fill it in and send it off by September 11th. The survey itself is pretty standard stuff, asking about you, what you read, what games you buy, and what you think of 64 magazine. They want to know things like your age, job, income, what other magazines you read, and what telly you watch. They're also keen to know what you think of the magazine's writing, design, and features, all the usual bits. Looking at the magazine covers shown, you can see they've featured games like Super Mario 64, Wave Race 64, Turok, and Star Fox 64, all the big hitters. There's also Mission Impossible, War Gods, and some solved tips pages for games like Yoshi's Island, Quake and Castlevania 64, and even Blast Corps and Duke Nukem 64. It's all about getting feedback to make sure they're giving us what we want from our N64 mag. This page features a survey about the Nintendo 64, asking readers about their console and game purchasing habits, opinions on the game selection, quantity and quality, and interest in peripherals like extra controllers and rumble packs. The survey also explores whether owning an N64 has changed their view of Nintendo. Accompanying the survey is an advertisement for Gameplay, a mail-order supplier, promoting N64 bundles and games. Featured games include titles like FIFA Soccer 64, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, with prices ranging from £44.99 to £49.99 for individual games. Gameplay also advertises accessories, such as joysticks, steering wheels, and memory cards, and includes a small section dedicated to the Sony PlayStation. This page of 64 magazine delves into the review section, kicking off with import reviews, discussing the state of the British console market and the influx of import games. Featured are Go! Troublemakers, described as a 2D platformer, and Dark Rift, touted as a 3D beat-em-up. Moving on to UK updates, there's talk about Nintendo's releases and PAL conversions alongside a mention for Blast Corps, a game where you destroy buildings with bulldozers, seemingly a bit of fun inspired by the A-Team van. Next up is Hexen, under Import Reviews, welcoming you to hell, seemingly referencing the game's theme, and questioning its value as an import. The awards section explains the magazine's scoring system, highlighting their strict approach to reviews, with 95% plus being gold medal territory, 9,094% earning a Sizzler award, and so on, down to below 20%, which is considered a black day for N64 gaming. The ratings criteria are graphics, sound, gameplay, and challenge. Box Clever explains that every review has standard info about each game. Memory Options informs readers about cartridge, save options, and controller packs. $64,000 question is where they detail N64 usage and special features, essentially the technical side of things. Finally, PAL Performance checks if UK versions of games run at full speed and full screen, or if producers have just done a lazy conversion for slower PAL consoles. This review of the import platformer Go! Troublemakers describes a uniquely Japanese experience, noting its bonkers nature and classic gameplay feel. Players control Marina the Maid, navigating levels filled with quirky characters and scenarios. The game, developed by Treasure and published by Enix, features impressive rotation and 3D effects, along with colorful animation. The story, involving a lecherous professor and unsettling Nendoros, is somewhat obscured by the abundance of Japanese text. Early levels are reminiscent of the Super NES, but the game soon establishes its own identity, including levels with giant robots, fiery action, motorbike chases, and tricycle explosions. While the backgrounds are unremarkable, the gameplay and visuals are praised. The game offers standard memory options, and costs £79.99 as an import. Keke. This page continues the look at Go! Troublemakers, proclaiming it's a lot of fun while it lasts. There's a section titled Confessions of a Robot Maid, where Marina offers gameplay tips for various levels, including level 13 about finding the exit star, level 15 where you need to catch hooligans, level 211 about killing lava lizards, and level 31 dealing with destroyable bricks. The review highlights the combat, weapon variety, and the shaker maker mechanic where shaking items can produce gems. It mentions you can play as Chappie in some stages, and points out the game's diverse level design, ranging from platforming to more unusual stages with hypersports and chase sequences. The game also features a rating system from A to D, reflecting how quickly you complete levels and how many secrets you uncover. Despite some early levels appearing visually simple, the overall impression is positive, emphasizing the well-designed and varied gameplay experience. This page reviews Go! Troublemakers, offering tips for challenging levels and detailing the controller layout. The game receives an 80% overall score, with praise for its graphics, audio, gameplay, and lasting challenge. Loz Cooper's second opinion calls it fun but dated, and mentions the large amount of Japanese text. Alternatives like Super Mario 64 are mentioned. The page also includes an import zone advertisement for us, Nintendo 64 consoles and games. Pricing examples include Mario 64 and Mario Kart at £54.99, and various PlayStation titles like Rage Racer and Final Fantasy VII at £39.99. A coming soon section previews anticipated titles like Mission Impossible and GoldenEye 007. Dark Rift for the N64, a fighting game developed by Kronos and published by Victor Kai, is reviewed with mixed feelings. While the game utilizes the N64's graphical capabilities well, with smooth, 60 FPS animation, and features decent music, it suffers from a lack of originality. The review criticizes the bland character designs and the absence of anything new, drawing unfavorable comparisons to titles like War Gods and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. The game features a roster of characters like Aaron Maverick, Eve, Demonica Gru, Gore, Morphix, and Zen Neuron, with some characters' descriptions exhibiting objectifying language. Screenshots highlight the game's moody, but static backgrounds. Despite technical strengths, the review concludes that Dark Rift is ultimately uninspired and derivative, failing to stand out in a competitive genre. This page continues the review of Dark Rift. They're not holding back, are they? Calling it Kingdom of the Bland, bit harsh. Even if it is a bit derivative, they are laying into the lack of moves, saying it's all hack, kick, special move, repeat. Bit simplistic for a fighting game, I suppose. They do concede the weapon trails are nice, and the button layout is Tekken-esque, but ultimately it's a pale imitation of Soul Edge, even down to the dodge buttons. Endings are apparently rubbish too, just a couple of screen of text, and they name the bosses as Sonok and Dimitron. They give it a fairly mediocre 60% overall. Breakdown of ratings has graphics getting a decent score, audio is alright, gameplay and lasting challenge are marked down a bit though. They've even got a second opinion box, with Loz Cooper seemingly impressed by the graphics but ultimately finding it boring. Alternatives-wise, they suggest Killer Instinct Gold and War Gods, both previously reviewed in the mag. Flipping over to the right side of the page, we've got an ad for Surflink internet access. Seems like a decent deal for back then: unlimited access, local calls, 2 MB of web space, and all the usual stuff. £75 for a year? Not bad. They're pushing the surf angle hard. Makes sense, I guess. This review covers the N64 port of Hexen, a first-person shooter fantasy game originally on PC, using the Doom engine. Described as a 3D shoot-'em-up, the review highlights the game's flaws. The reviewer notes the game's direct port from PC. The game allows the player to select between 3 characters: a fighter, cleric, or mage. The graphics are criticized as lousy and blurry, with depressive colors. The monsters are described as Lego brick chunky. Despite a deathmatch mode, the game suffers from technical issues. The review also discusses character classes, with the fighter, cleric, and mage each having their own strengths and weaknesses. Weapon descriptions are suitably over the top. The 64,000 question box summarizes the experience, with quite decent music and 4-player deathmatch, counterbalanced by horrible blurry graphics, boring levels, and dated gameplay. Overall, the review is negative, focusing on the poor graphics and dated feel. Brekau. This review harshly criticizes the N64 port of Hexen. It lampoons the cleric and mage characters, mocking their starting weapons and overall effectiveness. Multiplayer deathmatch suffers from graphical issues like blurriness and choppy movement. The level design is deemed uninspired, with bland environments and reliance on cheap death traps. A second opinion echoes these sentiments, labeling Hexen a poor Doom clone with dull visuals and tedious gameplay. The review's summary reiterates negative feelings, calling out a repetitive gameplay loop. Upcoming titles like Quake and GoldenEye are mentioned as superior alternatives. The overall score is low, with the conclusion advising against purchasing the game, calling it a third-rate port of a third-rate game. This page is a review of Blast Corps for the Nintendo 64. It's given an impressive overall score of 88%. The review highlights the game's surprising originality, noting it was released with little hype, but quickly became popular. It's described as a game about causing massive property damage with various vehicles to clear paths for a nuclear missile carrier. The reviewer mentions the puzzle element and the nerve-wracking tension of needing to protect the carrier from exploding. Comparisons are drawn to Lemmings but with vehicles and explosions instead of rodents. The page showcases several of the game's vehicles, including the Ram Dozer, Backlash, Skyfall, Thunderfist, Cyclone Suit, Ballista, Sideswipe, A-Team Van, American Dream, Starsky's Car, and Cop Car, with short descriptions of each. For example, the Ram Dozer is described as a big blade, fat tracks vehicle, and the Thunderfist is a gleaming giant robot. The review praises the game's graphics, audio, gameplay, and lasting challenge, each receiving a near-perfect rating. The alternatives section says it is sort of one of a kind. The summing up section states it's unlike anything else on the N64, and all the more addictive for it. Memory options are mentioned, with 1 save slot for levels only, and 4 save slots, with the controller pack for full game status. PAL performance is briefly touched upon, noting the UK version is on par with the US speed. This page is an advert encouraging subscriptions to 64 magazine. It's promoting a subscription as the best deal, highlighting that you won't want to miss out. They're promising early delivery, ensuring you receive all the latest Nintendo 64 news, reviews, and cheat codes before anyone else. There's a special offer with 35% off the newsstand price, and the subscription price is fixed, meaning it won't increase even if the cover price does. Subscribers also receive a special letter with behind-the-scenes gossip from the magazine team. Subscription options include 6 issues for £15 in the UK, £18 in Europe, and £23 for the rest of the world. Or 12 issues, which comes with a free 256k memory card, priced at £30 in the UK, £36 in Europe, and £46 worldwide, all inclusive of postage and packaging. There's a subscription form to complete with personal details and payment information, and the option to gift a subscription. The page uses imagery of Banjo-Kazooie, Mario Kart, and screenshots from various N64 titles that are likely featured within the magazine's content, such as reviews and previews. Games mentioned include GoldenEye 007, V064, Tetrisphere, Conker's Quest, Chameleon Twist, and of course, Blast Corps and Lilac Wars, all of which they feature in the magazine. This Cheat Central page from 64 Magazine provides tips and tricks for N64 games. It features cheat codes for Hexen, use version, including God Mode, clipping, and level select. For Dark Rift, US import, Codes allow players to play as bosses and view all endings. The page also offers a basic controller layout diagram and highlights guides for International Superstar Soccer 64, Mario Kart 64, and Super Mario 64. Advertisements include us N64 consoles and games from Skill, Import and UK games from Entertain, a Nintendo 64 Megapack, and the V64 Doctor Backup Unit. US Nintendo specialists advertise low prices on games like Hexen, Dark Rift, and GoldenEye. The page concludes with retailer adverts. This page is all about International Superstar Soccer 64, reckoned to be the best footy game at the time. It's laying out the top 10 scoring methods. Proper onion bag fillers they call them. They are breaking down various tactics, from the round keeper move, which they nickname the squiggle, to rebound, or pinball as they also call it, power shots, direct corners, corner headers, and different free kick plays like free kick shot and free kick chip/pass. Then there's your usual cross and header, pass and shot, and a bit of a cheeky one called chasekeeper. Each method is explained, and there are screenshots to illustrate what they're talking about. It's a decent guide for anyone wanting to bang in more goals on ISS 64. This page carries on with the International Superstar Soccer 64 guide. It kicks off with multiplayer tips, mainly saying don't get in a muddle with player selection and try passing to your mate. Then it gets into team tactics, talking about lineups and subs before the match, suggesting you swap out tired players and get proper positions sorted. They then run through a load of different tactics with little pitch diagrams, all off for when you're desperate for a goal, Cortac for central attacks, SD at for wing play, counter, all def for parking the bus, press up, Zn press and O's trap for offside traps. Next up is formations, saying pick one that suits your style, reckons 442 is a good all-rounder, and 541 is defensive. Then there's a big list of formations to choose from in the game. Strategies are covered, they suggest mapping them to the Z and C buttons for quick changes during a match. Smart move that. Man marking is mentioned, suggesting it's a good defensive option. Finally, they give a couple of cheat codes, hidden teams to unlock all the all-star squads, and big head players to give everyone massive noggins. Bit silly but fun for a laugh. This page reviews Mario Kart 64, highlighting its appeal as a two-player game and its fun multiplayer experience. It provides tips for navigating the challenging courses. The guide details character classes. Light class, Peach, Toad, Yoshi, is ideal for beginners, offering good acceleration and handling but weak cornering. Middle class, Luigi, Mario, offers balanced performance. Heavy class, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Wario, prioritizes power and pushing opponents, but suffers from slow acceleration and rough terrain. Players cannot choose the same character. Racing tips include using power-ups, power slides for mini-turbos, turbo starts, slipstreaming, and avoiding spins after being hit. Mirror mode, unlocked by winning all cups in 100cc and 150cc, provides a flipped track layout and a super-fast 150cc option. Character images of Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Luigi, Mario, Bowser, Donkey Kong and Wario are also shown. This page continues the Mario Kart 64 guide, moving on to the Mushroom Cup tracks. First up is Luigi Raceway, described as a gentle introduction, perfect for practicing power slides. Then we have Moo Moo Farm, which can be a bit tricky with its variable width and mole infestations, requiring players to stay central on the track and use mini-turbos. Kalimari Desert is next, a course with a train that can either crush you in the tunnel shortcut, or be used to gain a fast start by pretending you're a truck. Finally, there's Koopa Troopa Beach, which looks like a holiday destination, but offers strategic depth with shortcuts and close-quarter combat, including a shortcut over a sandbank full of crabs. Each track has its own combat tips section giving advice on using shells and bananas effectively, and general racing strategies. The next page continues the Mario Kart 64 track guide, now moving on to the Star Cup tracks. First up is Frappe Snowland, with its snowy road and snowman hazards. It mentions snowmen clusters that can be tricky, and the need to hug the snowbank to navigate the chicane. Next is Wario Stadium, described as a real monster, and the second longest track. Turbo starts are essential here. Heavy karts can power over speed humps, while light karts need to avoid jumping to maintain speed. The track features a 180-degree loop, and massive jumps, leading to potential disaster if failed. Bowser Castle is next, a real horror ride with spooky music and nasty corners. It's all about power sliding and avoiding the thwomps, which can bring you to a halt. The track includes a red carpet hall, thwomps at the end of hallways, and lava bridges which are easy to fall off. Finally, there's Sherbet Land, where your playing skills might be thrown out the window. Mini-turbo power slides are difficult, and the best tactic for penguins is to simply drive around them. The track has inside corner shortcuts over the lake, but mistakes can land you in ice blocks. There are also penguins patrolling the tunnel entrance, making it double trouble. The Special Cup in Mario Kart 64 features 4 challenging tracks. Donkey Kong's Jungle Parkway is a sparse course with slippery dirt and river crossings, where jumping guardrails and avoiding coconut chuckers is key. Banshee Boardwalk, a track with sharp corners, holes and bats, demands careful power sliding and awareness of hazards like bombs and ghosts. Royal Raceway showcases banked hills around Princess Peach's castle, emphasizing power sliding, mini-turbos, and strategic ramp positioning. Yoshi Valley, a confusing course with no barriers, features treacherous corners, drops, and hedgehogs, requiring careful route selection and avoiding the giant Yoshi egg. Combat strategies vary. Bananas are favored in Jungle Parkway, strategic banana placement is key on Banshee Boardwalk, booby traps work well in Royal Raceway, and bananas and green shells are effective in Yoshi Valley. This page details the walkthrough for Course 12, Tall Mountain in Super Mario 64. It's part of a larger guide for the game, and this section covers all 7 stars in the level. Each star is broken down with an objective and a guide on how to achieve it, alongside screenshots to illustrate key moments. Star 1, Scale the Mountaintop, is about reaching the summit. Star 2, Mystery of the Monkey Cage, involves rescuing a star from a monkey by the waterfall. Scary Shrooms. Star 3, focuses on collecting red coins located on the giant mushrooms. Star 4, Mysterious Mountainside, guides you through a secret slide to find another star. Star 5, Breathtaking Bridge, is about getting a star near the waterfall's source, with the option to use a purple exclamation switch. Star 6, Blast to the Lonely Mushroom, involves using the secret cannon to reach a distant mushroom for a star. Finally, Star 7, Collect 100 Coins, tasks you with finding 100 yellow coins in the level, highlighting the slide section as a good source. The guide mentions familiar Super Mario 64 elements, like pink Bob-omb buddies, cannons, and collecting coins, offering concise tips and visual aids to help players navigate Tall Mountain and grab all the stars. This guide outlines all 7 stars in Super Mario 64's Tiny Huge Island. Star 1 involves defeating piranha plants as Tiny Mario after starting as Huge Mario. Star 2 focuses on reaching the summit as Tiny Mario, offering both challenging and easier methods. Star 3 is a race against Koopa the Quick, also requiring you to be tiny. Star 4 entails finding 5 secrets as Huge Mario. Star 5 is about collecting red coins in Wiggler's lair, best done by entering as Tiny Mario. Star 6 instructs players to defeat Wiggler by becoming Huge Mario, and then reverting to Tiny Mario. Finally, Star 7 is a 100 coin challenge, with tips on how to efficiently collect enough coins, including using the cannon. This guide covers Super Mario 64's tick-tock clock, accessible with the second big key and 50 stars. This level is a daunting interior of a grandfather clock, full of moving parts. The guide details how to obtain each of the 7 stars. It includes tips like using a backflip for Star 1, roll into the cage, and freezing time for several stars to make the jumps easier. For Star 2, the pit and the pendulums, the camera angle is crucial, while Star 3, Get a Hand, is straightforward with a frozen clock. Star 4, Stomp on the Thwomp, requires jumps instead of stomping. Star 5, Time Jumps onto Bars, demands precise timing, and Star 6, Stop Time for Red Coins, challenges players to collect 8 red coins without stopping the clock. The final star is a standard 100 coin collection challenge, where freezing time simplifies the task. Rainbow Ride, Course 15 in Super Mario 64, is a challenging cloud-based level. The guide covers all 7 stars. Cruiser Crossing the Rainbow involves navigating magic carpets and platforms to reach a ship. The Big House in the Sky focuses on reaching the house's roof via carpet routes and careful jumps. Coins Amassed in a Maze requires collecting 8 red coins within the stone maze. Swinging in the Breeze involves a pole, seesaw platforms, and wooden platforms. Tricky Triangles involves navigating yellow pyramid platforms and activating a purple exclamation switch. Somewhere Over the Rainbow tasks players with using the floating ship's cannon to reach a secret island after activating the cannon. Finally, Collect 100 Coins is a coin collecting challenge, with the stone maze as a primary source of coins. This page is all about conquering Bowser and finding secret stars in Super Mario 64. Right then, let's get into it. First up we have Bowser in the Sky, which as you can probably guess is the final showdown with old Bowser himself. This guide gives you the lowdown on how to navigate the level and grab all 8 red coins hidden throughout, including ones on moving platforms, ledges, and even above wooden barriers. Proper tricky stuff to find them all. Then we move on to Castle Secret Stars, and specifically, the Princess's Secret Slide. This is one of those classic hidden levels you find early on, only needing 1 star to unlock it. It's a rapid slide down, full of coins and extra lives if you can grab them, and the guide gives tips on how to get the star at the end, and even how to beat it quickly in under 21 seconds for another star. Good little rundown for those secret stars and facing off against Bowser for the final time, eh? This guide details several secret star locations in Super Mario 64. The Secret Aquarium in Jolly Roger Bay requires 3 stars and collecting 8 red coins. 3 Toadstool Friends in the castle basement, accessible with 1 star, involves finding Toadstool for a star and hints. Second floor Toadstool needs the second Bowser key and grants a star and hints near Tall Mountain. Third floor Toadstool, needing 50 stars and the second big key, provides hints for course 14 and a star. Wing Mario over the Rainbow, requiring 50 stars, and the second Bowser key, is a sky level with red coins. Using the wing cap is essential. Lastly, Rabbit Secret Stars, needing 15 or 50 stars, and the Bowser World 1 basement key, is a water maze, where catching a rabbit twice yields 2 stars. This page is an advert for a couple of essential guides, see? Nintendo 64 Secrets, Strategies, Solutions, and the Super Mario 64 one. They're saying they're the only guides you'll ever need. Bit bold that, innit? You can order them by post or phone. Then you've got a Preview Palooza section. First up is Tetrasphere, puzzle game, load of balls apparently. They're wondering if it can recapture the Game Boy magic. Next, Dual Heroes, Hudson Soft are making a beat 'em up. Just don't mention Power Rangers, they say. Moving on, Banjo-Kazooie, yeah that name was a bit daft, codenamed Dream, they say it's going to be a stunner. Major League Baseball, with Ken Griffey Jr., they're asking if anyone in Britain will care about baseball. Cheeky, GoldenEye 007, 4-player action, shaken not stirred, E3 folks thought it was the game of the show, big hype for that one. Chameleon Twist, little lizard with a long tongue, platform game shocker. F-Zero 64, another Super NES classic getting a Shen 64 makeover, mip-mapped shampoo, and anti-aliased lip gloss, whatever that means. Says it's a speed freak's dream, sequel's even better. Last one is Conker's Quest. They're asking if there's room for another Bright Mario-style game. Rare are publishing it themselves, Nintendo's closest pals. Looks like a decent bunch coming up then. This page is a Banjo-Kazooie preview. They reckon it's the game Nintendo thinks is going to dominate Christmas sales. They mention it was originally codenamed Dream, and some thought Banjo-Kazooie was a rubbish title at first. It's from Rare, Nintendo's close pals, so they've got faith in it. Banjo is described as a honey bear, not some redneck, and his girlfriend, Piccolo, has been kidnapped by a giant. Kazooie is a Breegull in Banjo's backpack, giving him a bit of an edge. They say the graphics are lush but maybe a bit familiar, like Super Mario 64, but Banjo and Kazooie have more moves, 24 combined, apparently. There are 16 detailed levels with puzzles, and 16-piece jigsaw puzzles to collect. They mention transformations into other creatures by a shaman called Mumbo Jumbo, and reckon it's aiming to be as funny as Seinfeld, maybe even funnier than Red Dwarf V2. They're saying it's going to be a big game but wondering if it's too similar to Mario for comfort. Release is slated for November, so still a bit of a wait. There are screenshots showing off the graphics and gameplay, including one where they've been turned into a bug and another with Mumbo Jumbo. They're impressed with the lighting effects, saying they are miles ahead of Mario 64. This page previews GoldenEye 007, the James Bond game coming to the N64. They're saying this game is going to be a proper Bond experience based on the new film with Pierce Brosnan. It's got a multiplayer mode for up to 4 players, and they reckon the Golden Gun mode, where one shot is all it takes, will be a right laugh. Weapon-wise, they're listing everything from Bond's Walther, PPK and Mil-6 rifles to AK-47s, rocket launchers, and even tasers and timed explosives. It seems you can play it stealthy, a bit like Mission Impossible, or go in all guns blazing. The levels are based on locations from the film, like the chemical weapons factory, and the GoldenEye control room in Cuba, and they've even made the characters look like the film actors apparently. They mention mission briefings, and the difficulty levels get harder. The preview has a bit of a cheeky tone, joking about Bond looking like Steven Seagal, and all the usual Bond film clichés. Apparently, the level designs are proper faithful to the actual film sets. Import release is down for August, with a UK release in October, though that's still to be confirmed. This page continues the look at GoldenEye. They are going on about the stealth elements, saying you can tiptoe past guards and that, and how the analog stick helps you creep around. Apparently if you chuck a bomb in a room, it properly blows up, which sounds alright. They reckon GoldenEye will work with the rumble pack, which is a nice touch, and will be proper good for 4-player, saying it's faster and smoother than Duke Nukem and Mission Impossible. They are really talking it up, aren't they? They've even got screenshots of character selection with Bond, Natalia, Xenia and Bond again for multiplayer Bond in a tux. Very suave. They are also showing off some sniping action and some blokes having a 4-player rumble in the gents. Then there's an advert for Netgamer magazine, billing itself as Europe's only multiplayer PC magazine. It's pushing subscriptions, saying you get it delivered before anyone else, and you won't miss an issue. They've got a subscription form with different prices for single issues, 6 issues and 12 issues, for the UK, Europe and the rest of the world. They're wanting you to order online at http://netgamer.subs.net. Nintendo is reviving the fast-paced racing of F-Zero for the N64, promising a hardcore sci-fi experience in 3D. Titled F-Zero 64, the game boasts 60 FPS, even in 2-player split-screen. Tracks are described as wild, with banks, loops and jumps, far exceeding the original's flat designs. Vehicles are updated versions, capable of extreme speeds, racing on tracks featuring massive hills and complex curves. The game's graphics are detailed. The preview mentions the game will compete with Acclaim's Extreme G. With Shigeru Miyamoto involved, hopes are high, although the release date is currently unknown. F-Zero 64 sounds promising for fans of high-speed racing. This page is a preview of Conker's Quest, another platformer, coming to the N64 from Rare, hot on the heels of Banjo-Kazooie. It's described as a 3D Mario-style adventure, with 2 playable characters, Conker the Squirrel and Berry the Chipmunk, and it looks like you'll be able to swap between them, a bit like in Donkey Kong Country. The article mentions the graphics are looking good, and that it's aimed at a younger audience but questions if it will be too easy for older players. Ponka Squirrel. There are also adverts on the page for Wild Imports and Premier Direct. Wild Imports are selling Universal PlayStations and US and Japanese N64 games, with titles like Mario Kart 64, Go-Go Troublemakers, Doom 64, Star Fox 64 and Hexen listed for the N64, plus various PlayStation bits and bobs. Premier Direct is advertising a mail-order service for games, with titles like ISS 64, Killer Instinct, Mario 64, Mario Kart, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Pilot Wings, Shadows of the Empire, Turok and Wave Race, all with prices listed. This page is a preview for Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr., coming to the Nintendo 64. Angel Studios are developing this one, and it's being published by Nintendo. It's described as a sports game, naturally, and is slated for a Cuckus import release in September. The preview text talks about the motion-captured animation and the attempt to recreate all the MLB stadiums, with a lot of focus on the analog stick controls, comparing them to Nintendo's Reality Bat and Reality Glove. They mention up to 4 players can play in Home Run Derby mode, and there are other single and 2-player modes available. The text wonders if the American nature of baseball will be popular with British gamers and asks, who is Ken Griffey Jr. anyway? There are a few screenshots showing in-game action, pitching and batting views. Around the Major League Baseball preview, it seems we're looking at a page from another magazine called Play, a PlayStation magazine, by the looks of it. There's a big splash for Something Survived, which seems to be about the Lost World game from EA, and mentions a first look. There's also Vrally being previewed, and something called Fighting Force. They are also advertising a free cheats book with this issue of Play magazine, and showcasing Sony's dual analog joystick with force feedback. There's a reservation copy form to subscribe to Play magazine as well. This preview covers 3 upcoming games, all with potential import releases but no confirmed UK dates. First is Tetrisphere, a 3D puzzle game similar to Tetris, promising addictive gameplay with 99 levels and a 2-player mode. It's being compared to Tempest 2000. Next is Dual Heroes, a beat-em-up reminiscent of Power Rangers, featuring a dictator named Zol and a female character with detailed descriptions. The preview suggests it might be a decent fighter. Lastly, Chameleon Twist is a platformer where the chameleon's tongue is the primary gameplay mechanic, with a single-player adventure and a multiplayer lick-em-up mode, drawing comparisons to Mario 64. The overall assessment for all three games is uncertain, with potential for both brilliance and disappointment. The next page is a bit of a laugh. It's a comic strip called Here's Toby. Looks like an advert for Computer Exchange. Toby's playing a game called Estate Agent Massacre on his console. Looks pretty violent. Then suddenly, an alien turns up, called Keith from planet Norwich of all places, declaring he's going to conquer Earth for his own amusement. Toby's not impressed, and basically roasts Keith for being a boring, lame alien. They end up going back inside to play more games, so I guess Toby won that round. Amusement. Below the comic, there's a list of games they sell at Computer Exchange, covering PlayStation, Saturn, and of course Nintendo 64. They mention they do part exchanges and sell quality second-hand games and hardware, from sim chips to Star Fox 64. They're advertising a vacancy for a computer hardware, software, and video game market analyst too. Looks like they've got loads of branches all over the place, and they are taking credit cards. Handy there. The Games Index reviews Nintendo 64 games. Standout titles include Star Fox 64 and Super Mario 64, both scoring a 95%, and Wave Race 64 with 94%. Pilot Wings 64, 89%, and Blast Corps 88%, also receive high marks. Other games reviewed include Doom 64, 81%, Go! Troublemakers 80%, Killer Instinct Gold 75%, and Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 84%. Less favorably reviewed are Mortal Kombat Trilogy 62%, NBA Hangtime 60%, War Gods 59%, Doraemon 50%, and Cruisin' USA 31%. Several titles, including Wonder Project J2, Habushogi, Mahjong Master, Mahjong 64, Powerful Pro Baseball 64, and Pro Baseball King received score N/A due to language barriers or lack of understanding of the game. The Glory of St. Andrews, 25%, and FIFA 64, 29%, were heavily criticized. The Nindex promises monthly updates for accurate buying information. The next issue of 64 magazine, due out in September, promises a packed edition with reviews of Super Mario 64 and Wave Race, Rumble Pack compatible, and a GoldenEye review. They will also cover upcoming games, such as Yoshi's Island 64, and visit Probe Software and Rare. Excitement Direct offers various N64 bundles with games like Mario Kart 64 and Wave Race 64 for £184.99. Blast Corps is £43.99. They have deals on Mario Kart, Doom 64, and Wave Race. Individual game prices are listed, along with bundles including Turok and a memory card, and Star Fox 64 and a Jolt pack. Official colored controllers and the SharkPad Pro 64 are available. The magazine also features a list of accessories and even Super NES games. Finally, they advertise the buying and selling of second-hand N64 games.